Hey bitches, it's me Pallavi, and this week on Dirty Science, we're talking about thermoregulation, how we stay warm in cold weather and cool in warm weather. And why are women so goddamn cold all the time, physically and emotionally? It's because we're fine. We're fine, okay? We said it. Why are bitches always in sweaters? Did you know that there's a rule that offices and other buildings have to maintain a standard temperature? And that standard was established using an updated rule from the 1960s that was based on the metabolic rate of men. This metabolic rate is 35% higher than a female's metabolic rate. They made offices cold so that boys would be comfortable and girls would be fucking freezing, and then male stand-ups would have more to joke about and how women always need sweaters. Y'all ever notice how your girl is always cold and hungry? Ain't it a bitch how she always needs a sweater because the world was built for men? And how she faints due to her eating disorder caused by societal pressures and her period? Oh my god, her period. Yeah. Women be shopping for sweaters. Before we talk about the differences between men and women and their metabolic rates, let's talk about how people cope with the cold and the heat in general. Humans are endotherms, meaning to survive they need to maintain an internal body temperature through what is known as thermoregulation. So what do people do to survive in the cold? Humans are actually meant to survive in more warm environments than they are in cold environments because we don't have fur or fat insulation like polar bears do. We don't have fur? Tell that to a South Asian woman right before she waxes. But still we persist. Another way we cope with the cold is through vasoconstriction. Your blood vessels constrict near the surface of your skin so that your body can maintain its core heat, where your vital organs are, by sending the blood to those areas. The only problem with this is if you do it for a long time, you can get frostbite. So in freezing temperatures, your body has to cycle between constricting these vessels and dilating them. You also shiver, which produces heat short term. In the long term, people have actually naturally increased their metabolic rate over time. Their metabolic rate, which we discussed before, is their energy output. That's why the Inuit people, indigenous people who live in the Arctic, eat fatty foods and wear heavy clothing. And over time, some native people have actually increased their fat insulation around their vital organs in order to survive. Even people's blood flow patterns have changed over time to deal with their environment. And what do people do to survive in the heat? Well, we sweat. And as sweat evaporates off of our bodies, it cools us down. And that's called, wait for it, evaporative cooling. But in places of high temperature with high humidity, it's hard to lose body heat through sweating because it's hard for that sweat to evaporate off of our skin. So the higher the desert temperatures, the better sweating will work to cool us down. So when we sweat, we need to replace the salts that we're losing through sweat, which is why Gatorade exists, but is no excuse for Haterade to exist. Hey haters, how you doing? This is also interesting for how animals have developed in different regions of the world. Because heat production increases with body mass and muscle as opposed to fat, and because animals with lower surface area to body mass ratio are able to retain heat better because they have relatively less skin to lose heat from, it's believed that larger animals by mass are able to retain heat better and live in colder areas, whereas animals with less mass do better near the equator. This is called Bergman's rule. Thanks, Bergman. Bergie boy! Bergie! Bergalicious! Bergalicious definition, bigger bitches in the Arctic. Another rule called Allen's rule. Fuck you, Allen, you fucking bitch ass bitch. You corollary to Bergman's rule. You riding his goddamn coattails. God damn it, Allen, always trying to steal the thunder. Fuck you, Allen. Fuck your fucking face. Allen's rule states that linear animals, that's right, animals that look like lines, will lose heat to the environment faster than animals that look like cubes. That's why there are some thin-ass creatures in the desert, like snakes and lizards, and some thick-ass polar bears in the Arctic. In general, this is true for different native people as well. Humans living near the equator tend to have longer limbs than someone living further away. They're less compact with more surface area, so heat is lost to the environment faster. This is why people near the equator tend to be slender with long limbs, while short, stocky people tend to live in colder environments so they have less surface area to lose heat from. Remember, internet, these are generalizations, so don't use this like you use literally everything to tell people how they should look. So this brings us back to men and women, who have different metabolic rates and environments they feel comfortable in. In the cold, men generate heat through their higher muscle percentage, which provides heat to their extremities like their fingers and their toes. Men increase their metabolic rates more when their core body temperature drops compared to women. They use their big ass manly men muscles to shiver more. Women tend to have higher body core temperatures than men do due to their higher body fat percentage, which is useful during childbirth and for looking thick. This fat keeps your core warm but doesn't provide heat for your fingers and your toes. When men and women have similar body fat percentages, they tend to produce a similar thermoregulatory response, because ladies' body fat offsets their lack of shivering and vice versa. But there still are hormonal differences. Estrogen, lady hormone, tends to thicken your blood slightly, making it harder for this blood to reach smaller capillaries that are found in your fingers and your toes. Studies show that while women do have this higher body core temperature, 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit compared to 97.4 degrees in men, women can have hands, feet, and ears that are nearly 3 degrees colder than men in the same environments. So this is why your girlfriend is always trying to warm her cold-ass feet on your sweet, sweet heat-generating toes. And in the opposite environment, when we're hot or working out, men start sweating earlier and more than women. We just can't fucking win. So why does office temperature matter? Studies showed that women perform better at temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees, whereas men perform better at temperatures lower than 70 degrees. However, women were more negatively impacted by colder temperatures than men were by warmer temperatures. This is true even when people controlled for what they were wearing. So stop saying, she asked for it with what she was wearing. She wanted to be cold. So if your office is gender balanced, which it fucking should be, then the most efficient temperature for you to set your thermostat to is 75 degrees. So men do better in cold and women do better in warm environments. That's why I've been stealing my boyfriend's sweatshirts. I just want the best for both of us. So dudes, stop fucking teasing women about being cold. If you're comfortable, we're gonna be fucking cold. Because when technology makes the world more comfortable, that just means more comfortable for men. And stop complaining about us being cold and wearing tiny outfits while you also want to see our titties. You can't cover your tit and eat it too. Side note, a lot of these studies comparing men and women's body heat regulation were motivated by people interested in how women would fail during military combat. They all started out like, I know these bitches are on the ground with us now, and we can't talk about fucking them anymore, so how could this go wrong? See how efficient their body regulates heat. Uncle Sam wants you to be a man. Just be a man, brought to you by manly men. Manly men. Wouldn't you rather be a man? Doesn't being a man make you magic? Sponsored by Men for Men, all about men. Bring